So essentially strength, power, these are not bad. In its origin it is divine. But whether we use it at the service of the divine or at the service of the ego. This is what we see in the story of Rama and Ravana, that is in Ramayana. Also in Mahabharata, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. That one side wants to use it to establish a reign of justice and truth and harmony, whereas another side which wants to use the power for the service of the ego. This is what makes the difference. And here we have a typical description of what we as human beings have done with power, which came to assist us. This is the voice of the Dwarf Titan. I am the higher of the forces of the earth. Yeah, even philosophies will say all this is created for man, for his enjoyment. So he has the right to enjoy. This is to start with something deeply flawed. Slowly I make good my right to my estate. This earth, air, water, this is my estate. Slowly I am conquering, plundering, it's mine. You can't say it is nature or God or... There is a lot of humor in this. A growing Godhead in her divinized mud, I climb a claimant to the throne of heaven. The last born of the earth, I stand the first. Her slow millenniums waited for my birth, not knowing that you are going to be left behind by something else. I am the last, and therefore I am the highest. This logic doesn't apply. Many animals are much better. Only poor creatures cannot express themselves. In evening talk, Sri Aurobindo says that. Someone says that, man is the highest or something like that. Sri Aurobindo says, who says that? He's the last. Doesn't necessarily mean the highest. Sometimes you feel dolphins are better. They are far more, in many ways, lot more harmonious. The bifurcation started almost around the same time when apes grew into man and into dolphins. But dolphins are very sweet. They learn to cooperate. They have not made bombs for sure. One thing is for sure, And they don't have confusion when they speak with each other. They understand each other perfectly fine. But man believes he is. Although I live in time besieged by death, precarious owner of my body and soul, housed on a little speck amid the stars, for me and my use the universe was made. Look at the now humor. Sri Aurobindo will sprinkle it with wonderful humor in Savitri. On one side, yes, I know I am a little speck of mud. Don't teach me that. I know there is nothing like divine soul, etc. But all this is made for my enjoyment. It doesn't stop here. Immortal spirit in the perishing clay, I am God, still unevolved in human form. Even if He is not, He becomes in me. It's because of me that God becomes whatever His power is. The sun and moon are lights upon my path. Air was invented for my lungs to breathe. Conditioned as a wide and wall-less space for my winged chariot's wheels to cleave a road. All the technology and science the Titan has created, and now he says, what gods will do? I can do better. All these Indra and Agni and we are the guys. Pushpak Viman is an imagination. But we have made supersonic, not just jets, satellites. The sea was made for me to swim and sail and bear my golden commerce on its back. It laughs, cloven by my pleasure's gliding keel. I laugh at its black stare of fate and death. So, the earth is my floor, the sky my living's roof. All was prepared through many a silent age. God made experiments with animal shapes. Then only when all was ready, I was born. See, it's speaking truth, but it ends with a tinge of the ego is speaking truth. But this is how the titan does. Little twist, deform. That's what is called as devil quoting the scripture. Little twist, not much. And that changes everything. So he's saying right, that man was made to, go beyond the stars. All this is right. But not in the sense that we understand it through the ego. I was born weak and small and ignorant, a helpless creature in a difficult world, traveling through my brief years with death at my side. I have grown greater than nature, wiser than God. I have grown greater than nature, wiser than God. I have made real what she never dreamed. Nature couldn't make what I have made. And now Sri Aurobindo says a few things which, if we see when did he write it, definitely before 50, to say the least. And look what he's writing. I have seized her powers and harnessed for my work. I have shaped her metals and new metals made. This is okay, alloys were made. I will make glass and raiment out of milk. If you laugh at it, actually people have made glass out of milk. And milk cloth was made 5 years back for the first time by a German fashion designer. And it's called milch. It's made out of milk, literally out of milk. And it's got nice properties. It's supposed to be anti-germs. It keeps the germs away because of the certain protein structures. It's not a joke. Actually, people have made. You need 6 liters of milk to make. I did quite a bit of research on this. I can almost start a factory. This is what people have made, literally out of milk. 6 liters of milk to make a dress. It's called milch, and it's almost like silk, except that it's more organic. It doesn't need pesticides. So all these are being advocated. It's pretty costly. The last cost was about $190 or a little more than that, maybe $200, about 12,000 rupees. This 2011 first time it was made. Sri Aurobindo is, again, used the word in future tense. Elsewhere he said, I have made. And here he is saying, I will make. So the voice of the titan, I will make. I will make glass and raiment out of milk. Now they made it. Make iron velvet, water unbreakable stone. Iron velvet we know, the breastplates and dresses. Make water stone. Water unbreakable stone. Like God in his estues of artist skill. Mold from one primal plasm protein forms. Stem cells. Cloning. One plasm protein forms. I can make. Stem cells. They are like that. Cloning is like that. You pick up a cell, you can make it different forms, and it will come in the future like that. This research has been right now capped because people realize its dangerous potentials. But just round the corner. So he has foreseen all this. In single nature, multitudinous lives, all that imagination can conceive, in mind intangible, remold anew, in matters plastic, solid and concrete. No magic can surpass my magic skill. So this is what we see that, Ravana, when we read that he had captured the Navagrahas, he had captured Indra and, Agni. They are what? They are powers which create matter. They are powers behind matter, forces behind matter. All these are in the Puranas elemental energies. All these he had conquered, mastered. And he was using them to develop strange technologies which could destroy a whole earth. And that's why he had believed that nobody can surpass me. All the occult knowledge he has had through these means. So when it is said he had captured, it's not myth. There is a truth behind it. All these forces and powers he had captured for his use. Like today's a kind of technology. There is no miracle I shall not achieve. What God imperfect left, I will complete. God didn't make air-conditioned environment. He made us capable of adjusting. But we have made air-conditioned environment and lost the ability to adjust. That is the difference. Resilience is gone. That's what Sri Aurobindo says, that modern science has unveiled a marvelous surgery. No doubt. No doubt a marvelous surgery. But at the expense of losing our natural capacities to heal. Then gives the example of the North Indian herdsman who in cold winter, he takes a bath, drinks that water and gets well. And he says, this has cured me. Modern man takes a particular potion and gets well and he says, this has cured me. He says, what is the difference? Logically we think this is right. He is also right in his own way, in his own logic. He had that capacity and we have all seen, we have all grown up. Probably now children don't experience it. But we all grew up on stuff like those mixtures, pink and green mixtures. We survived. Our parents survived. Their parents survived. Obviously, allopathy was not there. They survived. Something was there which made them survive. But now we have entered into a loop from which it's very difficult to emerge. It will take time. Eventually we will come out. But right now we believe that we have improvised, but not realizing that we have created another kind of imperfection. What God imperfect left, I will complete. For example, God doesn't do organ transplant. Who says He doesn't do? He does it in the most painless way. Death is complete organ transplant. He doesn't ask any price for it. And it's transplant in such a beautiful way that you don't feel the pain. What is removed? He changes everything. That's organ transplant. So, I will improve. Out of a tangled mind and half-made soul, his sin and error I will eliminate. Life before science was so horrible. People used to sleep like this. They were bitten by mosquitoes, died of malaria, all this. Now we die of the fear of malaria. Now we die. We live, but we live with so much fear. Honestly, I have lived in a village, drinking well water. This never came to my mind that I can fall sick because of amoeba and develop diarrhea and all this. Fortunately, that habit is still somewhere there and I can drink water from a tap without this conscious thought entering. But today, we are all so fearful. What is happening? Enteric fever is going around. Any fever for one day, people come and ask, shall I get my vital test done? All information is also there. Should I get blood culture? Am I having typhoid? Straight away, one day fever. Nothing. So I have to tell them, kuch typhoid se niche bhi soch lena chahiye. Think of something less. Now, after some time, it has become a sign of royalty. Great people have great diseases. You can't have ordinary things like viral fever, flu. You can't be an ordinary person having flu. Special people must have typhoid to, sound great. This is what we have eliminated, cured typhoid. But we live with fear of typhoid all the time. Any water we have drunk 10 times, the thought is coming, I don't know. It may be nowadays epidemic is going on. Once it was chikungunya. Everybody, little joint pain, I am afraid is it chikungunya? Now nobody talks about it, fortunately. There are other gunyas which have come, or chickens which have come. So I used to humorously tell them, if you have not had chicken, you can't have chikungunya. So sometimes they would laugh or sometimes they would believe. Some of them would get frightened, but I have had chicken. They literally believed, some of them, that if you have chicken, I'll have chikungunya. So you see, no doubt it has helped, but it has not eliminated sin and error. We have only exchanged it for something else. So people live longer, but they live with so much fear, so much anxiety, more time to do more misdeeds, more time to further enjoy their desires and Whatever, at least if they would have gone, they would have come back in a new body, tried something new. Sometimes death is a release from the fixed grooves of habit, of deadly habits of nature. But to prolong life, the same old misery, the same old habit, the same old consciousness, that's a vaster way. What he invented not, I shall invent. He was the first creator, I am the last. His job was over after he created hydrogen. That is how scientists used to say. If there is God, his only task was to create electrons of hydrogen atom. The rest is a self-perpetuating cycle. This is how man thinks. I have found the atoms from which he built the world. So sure, it was coming. The first tremendous cosmic energy mission shall leap to slay my enemy kin. First thing he thinks with this energy is to slay his kin. Expungenation or abolish a race. Death's silence leave where there was laughter and joy. Can God do it? I can do it. This is my capacity. Look at now the dark humor. Something very dark in it. Or the fissured, invisible shall spend God's force. Atom is invisible and fissure, the nuclear fission. Everything in you, the nuclear energy which can be turned for even driving. We have now nuclear powered submarines. A day is not far when we'll have nuclear powered vehicles. Sri Aurobindo has foreseen it. Or the fissured invisible shall spend God's force to extend my comforts and expand my wealth. Already it's used for lighting, all kinds of things. To speed my car, which now the lightnings drive. He is thinking, seeing far ahead. In his vision, he has gone beyond the smoke engine era. Already thinking of the electrical cars and the nuclear driven vehicles. And turn the engines of my miracles. I will take his means of sorcery from his hands and do with them greater wonders than his best. God does these miracles, created all this. I know the powers now. I will take it from his hands and do things which he couldn't even conceive to do. This is called doing greater wonders. Yet through it all, I have kept my balanced thought. I have studied my being. I have examined the world. I have grown a master of the arts of life. I have tamed the wild beast, trained to be my friend. He guards my house, looks up, waiting my will. I have taught my kind to serve and to obey. Even human beings I have turned into my servants and menials. I have used the mystery of the cosmic waves to see far distance and to hear far words. Mobiles and internet, everything Sri Aurobindo is foreseen. Televisions, all I will create. Then somebody will say, in those days Mahabharata, there was only one television set which was with Sanjay. Now we have plenty. That was not television set. That is the inner sight given by a gift of grace. But that apart, how Sri Aurobindo has foreseen the vital power in man will do all these things. That's why when it is said that Ravana used to say, animals and man cannot kill me. He was so confident. He had already mastered these energies and he said, poor ordinary mortals, what do they have? They don't have anything. They can't do anything to me. But the story is symbolic. The Asura has to fall and be succeeded by the animal man or the humanized humanity. That is what the symbol is. This is the sign of a Asuric humanity where all the rajas, the power, the strength of God is used for purely ego and desire. I have conquered space and knitted close all earth internet, literally. Knitted close all earth at the touch button. It came much later. It's amazing, people who think Savitri is just poetry or just, it's imagination, it's very imaginative. Sri Aurobindo has written things. These are real things. Probably 30 years back, 40 years back, people may have felt. But now, today, look at it. It's all prophesied. Soon I shall know the secrets of the mind. I play with knowledge and with ignorance. And sin and virtue my inventions are. I can transcend or sovereignly use. See, this is how the twist comes. The sin and virtue, they are inventions of the mind. Yes, true. But what is he doing? He is not rising above it. He is saying, I will use them as I like. I'll be virtuous where it helps my ego. I'll commit a sin. I don't care where it helps my ego. Not act under a divine command. So he has discovered a truth of the mind, that's a play of the mind. But he has twisted it. He says, yes, I know. It's a play of the mind. But therefore I will use it where it suits me. That is what all these Asuras have done. When they were killed, they said, oh, you have committed a wrong thing. But when they went doing adharma, they said, no, it doesn't exist. I am just exercising my right. There is no adharma. But the moment they were killed, then they started talking about sin. So, sin in others, but I am practicing virtue. So, use it as I like. Sovereignly use. I can transcend or sovereignly use. I shall know mystic truths, seize occult powers. That's why we should be so careful. People who are hankering after occult powers come on the path of yoga. It doesn't matter, they may not come. It's irrelevant actually. But they may come. But to seize occult powers is the way of the Asura. This is the difference. Asura does hard tapasya, much more than what human beings do. At the end, when God appears, he says, what do you want? That is his choice will open his destiny. The God lover will say, I want you, Lord, you have come. Just don't fade away from my eyes. I want bhakti for you, love for you. I want to merge in you, become one with you. The Asura will say, those powers with which you have created. Can you give me that? God says, think twice. I just want that. And immortality, of course, will come with that. Okay, take my powers. Hiranyakashipu had all the powers of God. And what did Prahlad have? Just the vision of Hari in all. Mother speaks about this story. When a film was shown in the Prahlada legend, she said she liked the story very much. She said, it is so very true. If you live in oneness, nothing can harm you. And then she gave the example of Prahlad that in everything he was seeing Hari. So when he is thrown into water, he says Hari, Hari, Hari. He doesn't say, I am going into water, I am going to be drowned. He says, I am going into the lap of the Lord. And he is saved. He is bitten by a snake, he is saved. Because he sees the divine in all. That is the only power he has. Security, the only security. And Mother reminds us again and again. This is the only true security, the only true safety, the Lord. But we say Lord is fine, but Lord is far, but Lord can't do this, but Lord doesn't know modern medicine, but. For the moment this is important. Lord is there anyways. So Lord says, okay, I am there anyways. That story about somebody praying to Shiva when one is surrounded by all the people have surrounded him to hit him. And Shiva gets up to intervene. And Parvati says, where are you going? He says, my devotee is in distress. I must save him. And the next moment Shiva turns back and sits again. She says, what happened now? He said, no, he has called 911. So I thought he is going to call me because he is my devotee. So I was getting ready. I was swifter that he is going to call me. After all, he is my devotee. Surely he will call me. But what is this? He has lifted his own, taken his lathi and called for aid all his gunda friends. So I said, okay, fine. Let me sit. I'll intervene when there is a need. Let the play of forces continue as they are. That's why when, somebody raises this question, why didn't Krishna intervene in Mahabharata when the dice was going on? Why he had to wait till Draupadi? This was one of the questions recently posted on the internet. Why, if Krishna is God, he should have finished everything. Then Krishna is God, he shouldn't have even had the world. He should have just magically finished all the demons. That's the most puerile, childish, stupidest idea of God. So Krishna didn't intervene, nobody bothered for Krishna. Yudhishthir was playing under his own, something had overtaken his mind, and Shakuni was playing in his own way. But when things reach a climax, Draupadi has this smart idea. What idea? First he prayed to the husbands, nobody helped. Nobody eventually, Bhishma, Dronacharya, nobody could help. Then she says, my Sakha, why didn't I call him? Krishna, 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 Krishna. And lo and behold, she is helped. So that's the story. He intervenes when we ask his intervention. Not because he wants the fun, because this is the law of evolution. We have to learn and grow and evolve. It's not like a software or chip implanted into us. And we have to go through the play of forces. But a moment comes when we turn to him. That's how the Gita is given. There was no need of Gita. But Arjuna turns and says, I don't know what to do. Help me. Then Krishna gives the Gita. That's why a prerequisite for reading the Gita is not to read it like a scripture, even for Sri Aurobindo, not to read it as a scripture, but to read it with a need in the heart. Arjuna had a need in the heart, the Gita was revealed to him. If we have need in the heart, Sri Aurobindo's writings will reveal them to us, with a need in the heart. I shall slay my enemies with a look or thought. This is called hexing. Voodoo, all these magic. Hitler wanted occult powers. He had sent people to Tibet to learn occultism. Even in America, there is a whole research going on occult powers. Some people believe that an area, we can't say for sure, area 69 or something, or 54 is an area where they do a lot of research on occult powers. Distance healing or distance, knowing what is there at a distance. They're trying. I don't know what are the results. Some people claim that they have discovered many interesting things. But definitely, people want to seize occult powers. This urge is there. But why? I shall sense the unspoken feelings of all hearts and see and hear the hidden thoughts of men. So, if somebody has these powers, doesn't mean one is a divine being or a spiritual being. Oh, he can read thoughts. So what? Asuras can read thoughts. These are powers, siddhis. And see and hear the hidden thoughts of men. When earth is mastered, I shall conquer heaven. The gods shall be my aids or menial folk. No wish I harbor unfulfilled shall die. Omnipotence and omniscience shall be mine. That's what we see in Sri Aurobindo's yoga also. Two kinds of beings turn. Sri Aurobindo writes this in one of the letters. When someone asked him, why there are, even we see some beings who are like Asuric beings who have been drawn. He says, you can't say that in the beginning they were drawn by power because they found something and perhaps drawn by the urge of being converted. But later on, this idea gets into the head. Superman. I'll be a supramental being. I can do much more than ordinary human beings can do. I'll become immortal. Superman can fly. Wow, that'll be wonderful. So slowly the divine is relegated into the background. Oh, Mother and Sri Aurobindo, their writings are pre-1950 and 73. They are not relevant now. The important thing is new consciousness and my physical transformation. This is precisely the kind of Asuric dangerous turn to which Sri Aurobindo has alluded. New consciousness doesn't come like this. And if we try it, yes, we will get some powers, but will ultimately crash. It comes the way of the soul, by discovery of the psychic being, by surrender, by faith, by equanimity, by love. This what right through we see the same refrain in Mother and Sri Aurobindo. But there are beings who will be attracted towards the yagna because of the powers it can bring. And it's dangerous. Because supermind is practical omniscience and omnipotence. And Savitri heard the voice, the warped echo heard. She heard the voice of the Madonna of Might, and she heard the warped echo, echoing from the ego of man. And turning to her being of power, she spoke. She's not saying anything. She says, I know, you try to gain omnipotence, omniscience, do all these things. I am not interested. I am interested in creating a new world. And you try your means. Many Ravanas have come, Hiranyakashipu has come much more than you. You will go through the same way. In modern days, Hitler and Stalin have come. But I am interested in something else. She says to the Madonna of Might, Mother of works and force, thou art a portion of my soul put forth to help mankind and help the travail of time. Because thou art in him, man hopes and dares. All energy for tapasya, for seeking the divine, for moving towards the goal, comes from her. The same energy we turn into a different direction. Because thou art, men's souls can climb the heavens. This is the route, not the route of the titan. Repeatedly, even in Book 6, Sri Aurobindo reminds, haste not to God through the titan's path. This is the route. Because thou art, men can climb to heaven. But if they take the route of Mahishasur, you will meet them with the victorious power. Because thou art, men's souls can climb the heavens and walk like gods in the presence of the Supreme. Not the way of the titan that I will turn all this to my use and one day I will be like the gods. That is a chimera. But without wisdom, power is like a wind. It can breathe upon the heights and kiss the sky. It cannot build the extreme eternal things. There is a limitation which you have recognized. So there is something else that I need to bring for you. To the power to solace, he says, I'll bring the strength of God. To Madonna of Mights, he says, I'll bring wisdom. Then you will be complete. Thou hast given men strength. Wisdom thou couldst not give. One day I will return, a bringer of light. Then will I give to thee the mirror of God. Thou shalt see self and world as by him they are seen, reflected in the bright pool of thy soul. This is done. How? Mother speaks of it in the agenda. She tells Durga, you have done wonderfully. Do you want to continue being worshipped? She had a very close relation with Durga. She said, I don't want, but I can't help it. They do all this. She says, how about surrendering to the Supreme? She says, these beings are so absolute in their might that they can't think of anything beyond it. Supreme is supreme. They can't conceive because they have experienced themselves as supreme with an absolute authority. And she says, then Durga surrendered. And she experienced for the first time the joy of surrender. She also calls Shiva, says, participating in the new creation. He says, I will help, but I will not be tied to a human body. So this part of the work which we see, Madonna, when she says, one day I will return, even the gods have to be upgraded. And this work Mother has done, we see it in the agenda. But here, because it's the Savitri's upward journey to discover it, because the new being will no more be a single type. He will not just be a vibhuti of knowledge or a vibhuti of might. He has to incarnate all the four types in their perfection. That's what Sri Aurobindo says in the Mother, that when all the four gods, the goddesses, they have started working harmoniously, then the gates of the supermind open. And this is what Sri Aurobindo reveals in Records of Yoga when he says the perfection of the Shakti Chatustra, the perfection of the Shudra Bhav, the perfection of Vaishya Bhav, the perfection of Kshatriya Bhav, and the perfection of Brahmin Bhav. So each of them have to grow into completeness by the touch of the other. This is a unseen part of their work, which they have quietly done. Mother has just spoken little bit hints here and there. How much more would have happened, we have no idea. Thy wisdom shall be vast as vast thy power. Durga, surrender to the Supreme. Thy wisdom shall be vast as vast thy power. Then hate shall dwell no more in human hearts. And fear and weakness shall desert men's lives. Modern man, with technology and science, creates comforts and safety walls, but it cannot rescue us from fear. It cannot rescue us. Fear can go only with the growth of wisdom and inner strength. It cannot give us hope that world will evolve into something higher and better with all its inventions. The cry of the ego shall be hushed within. Its lion roar that claims the world as food, all shall be might and bliss and happy force. We'll just read these last 4 lines, then stop and meet 22nd February 2017. One day I will return a bringer of light. Then will I give to thee the mirror of God. Thou shalt see self and world as by him they are seen, reflected in the bright pool of thy soul. Thy wisdom shall be vast as vast thy power. Then hate shall dwell no more in human hearts, and fear and weakness shall desert men's lives. The cry of the ego shall be hushed within. Its lion roar that claims the world as food. All shall be might and bliss and happy force. We'll just have a short meditation, few minutes, and then some prasad.